Hello everyone, I'm Siga from Tokyo University. The title of our talk is Public Key Projective Arithmetic and Function Encryption. This is a joint work with Masashi Hisai from Panasonic and Hiroki Shizuya from Tokyo University. The main topic of this presentation is functional encryption. Let's consider this situation. The sender wants to send a message X without revealing X itself, and the receiver wants to know a value Cx for some circuit C. First, the sender encrypts the message X with a public key Pk, and the ciphertext Ct is sent or stored for the receiver. Second, the key generation sender KGC generates a functional key SKC on the circuit C. The receiver gets CT and SKC. By using the functional key SKC, the receiver decrypts CT to CX. One of the most important applications of functional encryption is the indexability obfuscation, I/O. This I/O obfuscates a circuit or code with keeping its functionality. By using I/O, we can obtain various cryptographic primitives or protocols. For example, chosen ciphertext, the PKE, digital signature, non-inductive knowledge, and so on. However, the inverse, how can we construct I/O, is an important question. Concerning this, the function encryption is a promising candidate. Okay. So before noting about the relation between I/O and FE, we introduce the single key sublinear function encryption. The single key sublinear function encryption has two requirements. The first one is single key security. The single key security means in a security game, key extracting query can be done at most one time. The second one is the sublinearity. We say encryption time is sublinear if the encryption time TFE satisfies this equation. Okay, we show that the single key function encryption implies the I/O. First, the single key sublinear public key function encryption implies I/O by BV15. Then, the secret key case is also short. For the single key sublinear FE, one single key multi-input public key function implies the sublinearity. Secret key case also holds. For another direction, AS17 proposes a projective arithmetic function encryption. In their paper, the secret key PAFE is proposed, and SKPAFE implies single key sublinear secret key functional encryption. So, our motivation is the public key version of PAFE is not known. So, in this talk, we aim to construct public key version of PFE, and PKFE implies a single key sublinear PKFE. Okay, this slide shows the summary of our contribution. In this paper, we propose a public key version of PKPAFE, PKPAFE, and PKPAFE with randomizing polynomial scheme RP derive single key sublinear function encryption. This is a public key case of the result by AS17. Okay, this is the agenda of this presentation. So we next talk about preliminaries, public key FE, and randomized polynomial schemes. Then we introduce public key projective arithmetic function encryption, and then PKPFE implies single key sublinear FE. We introduce the definition of public key FE. The public key function encryption FE consists of these four algorithms. The setup algorithm takes the security parameter lambda and outputs the public key MPK and the secret key MSK. The key generation algorithms takes MSK and the circuit C and then outputs the functional key SKC. The encryption algorithms takes the public key MPK and the message X, then outputs the ciphertext CT. Finally, the decryption algorithm takes the functional key SKC and the ciphertext CT, and then outputs the circuit value. Okay, we introduce the single key selective security for the function encryption. There are two parties in security games, the challenger and the attacker. There are four phases. First, in the setup phase, the challenger generates a pair of public key and secret key, and then he sends public key to attacker. In the challenge phase, first, the attacker chooses the two messages x0 and x1 and sends these two messages to challenger. Then the challenger picks a random bit B and then computes the ciphertext of the message XB. Finally, he sends CT to attacker. In the query phase, the attacker chooses circuit C such that Cx0 equals Cx1, and he sends the circuit C to challenger. The challenger computes the functional SKC of the circuit C, and then he returns this SKC to attacker. This query phase can be done at most one time, and this is the single key security. Finally, the attacker outputs a bit B prime, and if B equals B prime, the attacker wins this game. Okay, we introduce randomized polynomials RP. RP has three algorithms. The circuit encode takes the input, the security parameter, and the circuit C, and then outputs a sequence of polynomials P1 to Pn. The input encode algorithms take a message X and the randomness R, outputs the encoded message at X. Thus, the decoding algorithms takes value p1 hat x to p1 hat x, and then output the y. And we say that the decoder is a linear decoder if this algorithm runs this procedure. Okay, so we now define the public key projective arithmetic function encryption PKPFE. The PKPFE consists of 5 algorithms. The first, the setup takes a security parameter and outputs a public key and a secret key. The second, the key generation takes a master secret key and a circuit key, outputs a functional key SKC. Third, the encryption takes a public key and a message X, computes the ciphertext. The fourth is project decryption algorithms. It takes a functional key SKC and a ciphertext, outputs the partial decrypted value iota. Finally, the recovery algorithms takes k pair of coefficients C1 and iota 1 to ck to iota k, and outputs out equals these values. Okay, this slide is overview of PKPFE. A message X is encrypted by encryption to CT. By key generation, arithmetic circuits C1 to CK computed functional key SKC1 to SKCK. By using these keys, the projective decryption outputs partial decrypted values iota 1 to iota k, and with the function f, PKPF recovery algorithms computes these values, circuit values. Okay, so we define the security inertials of PKPFE. For PKPFE, we consider these 2 security inertials. The first, index indistinguishability for semi-functional keys means that these 2 functional keys are computationally indistinguishable. The second, indistinguishability for semi-functional ciphertext. This notion means that the ciphertext and semi-functional ciphertext are computationally indistinguishable. Okay, so we show our results of this paper. So we construct function encryption from PKPFE and RP. Okay, so setup algorithm computes public key and secret key at this procedure. So it coincides with the setup of PKPFE. The key generation takes secret key of PKPFE and circuit C. First, it computes the polynomial P1 to Pn corresponds to circuit C. And for polynomial Pn, computes the corresponding circuit CPI, and for the circuit CPI, the functional key SKCPI by using PKPFE key generation. Finally, the functional key SKC consists of these NPs. So this is overview of the key generation. First, the circuit C is converted to n polynomials by circuit encoding, and then converting these polynomials to equivalent arithmetic circuits CPI to CPN. And then the corresponding functional keys is computed by key generation of PKPFE. Okay, so this slide shows the encryption. First, chooses a randomness on capital R. And then, by using input encoding, computing encoding message hypertext. Then, compute the ciphertext CT by using the encryption of PKPFE. Okay, finally, so we show the decryption. First, by using the project decryption, so compute the partially decrypted values iota I for each circuit CPI. And then, by using these partially decrypted values, compute T outputs by adaptively chosen each function Fi, and final output is output. Okay, for our construction of FE, so we show three theorems. The first is a completeness. The theorem 1 says our function encryption FE satisfies the completeness. So that is, so the final output out equals the CX. The second is concerning the sublinearity. The theorem 2 implied that our construction FE is sublinear. The third is the security theorems. The theorem 3 is assuming that the PKPA has the indexability of semi-functional keys and ciphertext. Then our proposed FE is a single key selective secure. Okay, so we gave a conclusion. In this talk, so we propose a public key version of PKPFE. We showed that PKPFE with randomizing polynomials, we can construct a single key sublinear functional encryption. Okay, so finally, so there is an important question. So we show that PKPFE with RP implies one single key sublinear PKPFE. However, constructing PKPFE from other cryptographic levels is not known. So finding some cryptographic primitives implies PKPFE is an important open question. Okay. Well, thank you very much.